An Anti-War Website Guide. Chapter 1. An Anti-War Website Guide. Anti-War Websites 1. 1924.org, 1924, UK Muslim Community News Site on the Iraq Conflict. 9-113HEMOTHEROFALLBLACKOPERATIONS.blogspot.com. Actagainstwar.org, Direct Action to Stop the War, Nonviolent Civil Disobedience and Direct Action Against War. activist-trauma.net. ActTogether.org, Act Together, Women Against Sanctions on Iraq, a group of UK-based Iraqi and non-Iraqi women working against war on Iraq. ADL.org, Anti-Defamation. AFSC.org, American Friends Service Committee, multi-faith organization established by the Quakers in 1917, backing peace building, the American Friends Service Committee. Againstbombing.org, Americans Against Bombing, conservative/libertarian coalition opposed to U.S. bombing in the Middle East and Kosovo. AirAmericaRadio.com. AlphaEd.com. Alternate.org. amazing1.com/fire, explosives. Amnesty.org. Antioch.edu/peace/ipra-antiwar.com. AmericansWhoTellTheTruth.org. Anti-War Info, Seattle. anti-war.us. Antiwar.com. ArabHRA.org, Arab Human Rights. artandwebdesign.com/thinkpeace. artcontext.org/antiwar/index.php. awakenedwoman.com, Awakened Woman, spiritual journal opposing war and celebrating women's power to change the world. opi.com/intelweb. azam.com, Muslim War. Baha'i.org. bearwitness.org, Bear Witness, non-affiliated group that holds naked anti-war protests. basecommunity.org. beyondwar.org, Beyond War. bracingviews.comt. branchnergy.com. bringthemhomenow.org, Bring Them Home Now. caat.org.uk, Campaign Against the Arms Trade, group working for the reduction and ultimate abolition of the international arms trade. californiapeaceaction.org. canamglobal.com. carnegieendowment.org, Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. cartercenter.org, Carter Center. kct.illinoisstate.edu/sites/tv10wp/tag/anti-war. cdi.org, Center for Defense Information. cfs.colorado.edu/peace/orgs. cgdev.org, Center for Global Development. cgg.ch, Commission on Global Governance. circleway.org. citiesforpeace.org, Cities for Peace, coalition of local elected officials and citizens in U.S. cities encouraging people to email city councils and pass a resolution against the war. Anti-war websites 2. citizen-soldier.org, Citizen Soldier. climatecrisiscoalition.org. clintonglobalinitiative.org. clubmadrid.org, Club of Madrid. cnduk.org/welcome.htm, Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, a nonviolent campaign group working to eliminate nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction. cndurks.gn.apc.org/caab, Campaign for the Accountability of American Bases, campaign raises public awareness, scrutiny, and accountability of American bases in the UK and opposes weapons of mass destruction. cnvc. org, Nonviolent Communication. codepink4peace.org, Code Pink for Peace, group of women organizing vigils for peace and calling for a campaign of civil disobedience if war begins in Iraq. Anti-war websites 3. colorado.edu/conflict. conflictresolution.org. counterterrorism.com. cr.org. csis.org. cs.uit.no/paald/revenge. cwwg.org, Chemical Weapons Working Group. datec.com.au/Sandlani. devp.org, Canadian Catholics for Development and Peace. embeddedlive.com. emergency.com/cntrtur. essential.org. fema.gov/fema/terrorref. fenton.com. foreignpolicy.com. comdsd.org, comd. contraryperspective.com. controlarms.org. costofwar.com. counterpunch.org. counterterrorism.com. couragetoresist.org/x, courage to resist. couragetoresist.org. courant.com. cpdweb.org, Campaign for Peace and Democracy, campaign urging people to sign a statement opposing war on Iraq. crabgrassusa.org, Crabgrass USA. crimesofwar.org/index.html. crisisgroup.org. culturacontractalaguerra.org, Cultura contra la guerra, Spanish Artists Against War. dams.org, World Commission on Dams. davidcogswell.com, Head Blast. deathandtaxesmag.com. democracyrising.us. departmentest.washington.edu/antiwar/pnwistery_home.shtml. departmentest.washington.edu/antiwar/pnwistery_worldwar2.shtml. desert-rescue.org.uk, Operation Desert Rescue, non-affiliated group, set up more than 25 years ago to look at the effects of war on children around the world. deutschland-sagt-nein.de, No to War Against Iraq, German campaign urging people to send €1 to a special bank account as a vote against a war in Iraq. devp.org, Canadian Catholics for Development and Peace. disabilityuk.com/anti-war-war-politics-links.html. disturbingtrends.tk, Disturbing Trends. doctorswithoutborders.org, Doctors Without Borders. draftresistance.org, draftresistance.org. ducktapforpeace.org, Duct Tape for Peace, a site urging anti-war protesters to express their views with a duct tape ribbon, duct tape bumper sticker, duct tape banner or sign, or by posting a strip or roll of duct tape to George Bush. earthaction.org. earthcharter.org, Earth Charter. earthfuture.com, 101 Ways to Stop the War on Iraq, list compiled by environmental site Earth Future. eclipsereview.org, Eclipse, International Journal of Analysis and Comment with an anti-war focus. educategirls.org, Educate Girls Globally. effectivepeacekeeping.org. electroniciraq.net, Electronic Iraq, a news portal on the US-Iraq crisis published by anti-war campaigners' Voices in the Wilderness and Middle East supplementary news publishers, the Electronic Intifada. empirenotes.org, a blog written from Baghdad. mscondonline.com. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/war. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/war_crime. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/warlord, en.wikipedia.org/wiki/list_of_war_crimes. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/suppression_of_dissent. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Geneva_Accord. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/economic_sanctions. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/financial_sanctions_unen.wikipedia.org/wiki/embargo. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/anti-war. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/annexation. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/military. Anti-war websites for. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/insurgency. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/oppression. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/terrorism_the_United_States English.Illinois.edu/maps/Vietnam/antiwar.html epa.gov/osw/non-has/industrial/medical/tracking.htm epic-usa.org, Education for Peace in Iraq, organization dedicated to improving humanitarian conditions in Iraq and defending the human rights of the Iraqi people. epsusa.org esbarmiru.lv, Esbarmiru, Latvian anti-war group whose name means I am for peace. everyonecounts.org.uk, Everyone Counts, mass letter writing campaign against war. filmsite.org/warfilms.html firethisTime.org, The Fire This Time, audio project, a record of the fate of Iraq. fletcher.tufts.edu/cci, Cultural Change Institute. foodnotbombs.net, Food Not Bombs, volunteer organization dedicated to nonviolence. Forum. forusa.org, Fellowship of Reconciliation USA, nonviolent interfaith group set up in 1915. Forward.com. fundforpeace.org, Fund for Peace. futureworld.dk/society/books/nonviolence.htm. getpeaceful.org. getpeaceful.org/antiwar/directory.php. globalactionpw.org, Global Action to Prevent. globalcitizenjourney.org. globalpeacefoundation.org. globalpolicy.org/security/issues. ofer.well.sf.ca.us/publications/online-zines/terror. gregpalast.com. gwu.edu/nsa National Security Archive. globalpolicy.org/woodcourt/index.htm. globalresearch.ca. globalsolutions.org, Citizens for Global Solutions. gppi.net/about/background, Global Public Policy Institute. grandmothersforpeace.org, Grandmothers for Peace International. greenleft.org.au, Green Left Weekly, Australian magazine with anti-war stance. greens.org.nz/campaign/peace, Just Peace Campaign, New Zealand Green Party anti-war campaign. gssa.ch, Group pour un Swiss sans armes, the movement for the abolition of the Swiss Army wants to abolish the Swiss Army and replace national service with a voluntary, peaceable alternative. Also opposes war on Iraq. gwi.org.uk, Gloucestershire Weapons Inspectors, newly formed group trying to eliminate weapons of mass destruction from Gloucestershire. Halliburtonwatch.org, Halliburton Watch. HaloUSA.org, organization that removes land mines. Harvard.edu/cfi/pncs/homepage, Program for Nonviolent Sanctions and Cultural Survival, organization that removes land mines. Anti-war websites 5. Harvard.edu/cfi/pncs/aei, Albert Einstein Institute. Heroes.net/content. History.com/topics/Vietnam-war/Vietnam-war-protests. historylearningsite.co.uk. hourofTheTime.com. hrw.org, Human Rights Watch. humanshields.org, Human Shield Mission to Iraq, convoy of peace campaigners traveling to Baghdad to act as a human shield. hvmusic.com, Mid-Hudson Valley, Voices for Peace, an activist chorus affiliated with Arts for Peace, is based in Ulster County and serves the Mid-Hudson region. iacenter.org. iaf.gov, Inter-American Foundation. ibc.wstl.edu/ibc/domainform, see who supports rebel websites. ict.org.ilifrc.org/pub/wdr, World Disasters Report. igcc.ucsd.edu/igcc2/igcc menu, global conflict and cooperation. igc.org/coppered, peace research, education, and development. igc.org/pbi, Peace Brigades International. icbl.org. igc.org/coppered, Peace Brigades International. igcc.ucsd.edu/igcc2/igcc menu, global conflict and cooperation. insuri.ulst.ac.uk, conflict resolution. imtd.org, Institute for Multi-Track Diplomacy. insuri.ulst.ac.uk/cds/countries, world map of international conflicts, from INCOR. insuri.ulst.ac.uk. indibuddy.org/antiwar, the SF Bay Area Independent Media Center. infosop.org/military.html, harass the brass, anti-military newspaper produced by radical U.S. soldiers in Vietnam. infowar.com. infowars.com. ingankrig.no, Ingenkrig MOT Iraq, Norwegian anti-war site. InnateNonviolence.org, Innate, Irish Network for Nonviolent Action Training and Education, an umbrella group supporting people exploring nonviolent approaches to conflict issues. insider-magazine.com/unrestricted_warfare.htm. Interaction.org. Internationalanswer.org, International Answer, Act Now to Stop War and End Racism, coalition group calling for worldwide rallies against war and racism. IPCRI.org, Israeli-Palestine Center for Research and Information, joint effort. IPPNW.org, International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War. IraqBodyCount.org. IraqAction.org. IraqBodyCount.net, Iraq Body Count, project attempting to establish an independent and comprehensive public database of civilian deaths in Iraq resulting directly from military actions by the USA and its allies in 2003. IraqBodyCount.org. IrishAntiWar.org, Irish Anti-War Movement, anti-war movement supported by Ireland's Green and Socialist parties, also opposes U.S. Army presence in Shannon. isr.umd.edu/peaceafiri/Peace Center, Cyprus Peace Center, Iraq Veterans Against the War. evaw.org. j-n-v.org, Active Resistance to the Roots of War, a nonviolent direct action affinity group set up in September 1990. Holds weekly vigils outside the Foreign Office calling for the end of economic sanctions on Iraq. jamaat.org. janes.com. jaring.my/ISIS. jihad.net. justicenet.org. keenkrieg.ch, Keenkrieg, Swiss site, in German, organizing anti-war demonstrations and with links to other European anti-war sites. kimsoft.com/kimspy. kraus.com. ksg.harvard.edu/cchrp, Carr Center for Human Rights Policy. laboragainstthewar.org.uk, Labor Against the War, Labour Party and Trade Union campaign for an end to Western military action in response to the events of September 11, 2001. legitgov.org. lourockwell.com. libertarianhippie.com. lobotero.com. mabonline.net, Muslim Association of Britain, institution that attempts to spread the teachings and culture of Islam within British society. Supports all global anti-war movements. Anti-war websites 6. spystuff.com/list sites. state.gov/www/global/terrorism. stopwar.org.uk. sdratfor.com. terrorism.com. terrorism101.org. texansforpeace.org. theatlantic.com/politics. thehistorynet.com. thepeacecenter.org. thuarparty.com. metact.org, Medical Action for Global Security, a charitable organization of health professionals concerned with the health impacts of violent conflict, poverty, and environmental degradation. medtv.be, memoryholeblog.com, maryp.org, Middle East Research and Information Project, micorite.com, metanoia-films.org, Counterintelligence by Scott Noble, mfa.gov.il/mfa/peace%20 process/guide%20 to %20 the %20 peace%20 process, Israeli government's view of the Middle East peace process. mfso.org, Military Families Speak Out, group of families of military service people taking an anti-war stance, Military Families Speak Out. michaelmoore.com, michaelmoore.com, website of the author of Stupid White Men. microcreditsummit.org, Microcredit Summit Campaign. militaryfreeschools.org, Coalition Against Militarism in Our Schools. misleader.org. moveon.org, Move On, a nationwide network of more than 600,000 online activists working to support U.S. citizens in finding their political voice. mprofaca.cronT.com, muslims-us.org, naturalnews.com, ncpolicywatch.org, ned.org, National Endowment for Democracy, nepajac.org, Northeast Peace and Justice Action Coalition, a loose coalition of peace and justice organizations mostly from the Capital District, Albany, region of New York. netaxs.com/nvweb/ Fellowship of Reconciliation. netside.com/lcobel/books/booklist. networkforpeace.org.uk, Network for Peace, organization-based network set up to continue the work of the National Peace Council, one of the oldest peace organizations in the UK. newsbusters.org. ni4d.org, Nuclear. nlgmltf.org, National Lawyers Guild Military Law Task Force. nnomi.org/jumla/index.php, National Network Opposing the Militarization of Youth. noborders.org.uk. nodo50.org/Paramoslaguera, Parmos La Guerra, Spanish anti-war site. noninterventionist.com. Anti-war websites 7. nonviolent-conflict.org. notinourname.net, Not in Our Name, group of artists and activists inspiring protest and resistance to the U.S. government's course in the wake of September 11. notinourname.org.au, Not in Our Name Australia, site asking people to sign a register indicating their opposition to war. notoursoldier.org, Not Your Soldier. nowour.greenpeace.org, Greenpeace, Say No War Again, environmental pressure groups anti-war website. nowourblog.org, Stand Down. nps.navy.mil. objector.org, Objector. objector.org/recruiting.html, Military Out of Our Schools. onestp.com/milmt. oneworld.org/Rory Peck. oneworld.org. oneworldgov.org, The World Peace Plan. oneworldtrust.org, One World Trust. onwar.org. operationobjection.org, Operation Objection, Canada. ourworldursa.org, Our World Our Say, campaign to put pressure on the British government by sending a message to Tony Blair opposing war on Iraq. ows.edb.utexas.edu/site/Vietnam-anti-war-movement. oxfam.org. paxchristi.net, Pax Christi, International Catholic Peace Movement with branches throughout the world. paxchristiusa.org, International Catholic Movement for Peace. paxhumana.info/en.php3, Pax Humana, French anti-war site. paxmundo.org. paxwarrior.com. peace-action.org, Peace Action, grassroots peace group. PEACE-NOT-WAR.org, Peace Not War, Anti-War Songs. Peace.menolink.org/articles. Peaceact.net, Neighbors for Peace, Peace Action of Upper Hudson, working to end wars and prevent new wars through education and public witness. Peaceaction.org. Peaceandprogress.org, Peace and Progress, site asking visitors to sign a peace manifesto. Peacecouncil.net, Syracuse Peace Council, peace and social justice organization. Peacedirect.org. Peaceexchange.org.uk, Peace Exchange, Quaker anti-war site. PeacefulSeahoolsinternational.org. PeacefulTomorrows.org, September 11th Families for Peaceful Tomorrows, an advocacy organization founded by family members of September 11th victims, seeking effective nonviolent responses to terrorism. PeaceMagazine.org. PeaceNet.org/ICT. PeaceNews.info. PeaceActionMe.org, Maine. PeaceMagazine.org. PeaceNet.org. PeaceOnataE.org. PEJ.org. Pilot.msu.edu/user/snooktil, Terror Handbook. PreparingForPeace.org. VotersForPeace.us. QOQAZ.com, Muslim War. ReliefWeb.int. ResistWar.com. Sandlini.com. SaveTheSoldiers.com. Servivas.org, Peace Organization. ShalomCTR.org. Siparai.se, Peace Research Institute. SmallWarsJournal.com. SPIKED-ONLINE.com. PeaceNow.org, Israeli. PeaceOperations.org. PeacePlanGroup.assets.org.uk, Peace Plan Group, group dedicated to searching for an apolitical, non-military resolution to the war on terrorism. PeacePlease.com, PeacePlease.com. PeacePledge.org, Iraq Peace Pledge, site to publicly register opposition to war on Iraq. Anti-war websites 8. PeaceRevolution.org. GroundZeroMedia.org. BlacklistedNews.com. MediaMonarchy.com. CyberspaceWar.com. Tufts.edu/departments/Fletcher/multi/warfare.html, rules of warfare and arms control. AFSC.org/peacework/default.htm, peacework. AirAmericaRadio.com. AlphaEd.com. AMAZING1.com/fire, explosives. Amoa.com/disaster/chemical_radiation_ricin_poisoning.shtml. Antioch.edu/peace/ipara. Antiwar.com. Pecasdesign.com/lis, the Lysistrata Project, worldwide theatrical event for peace. PyBillWarner.wordpress.com. Pilot.msu.edu/user/snooktil, Terror Handbook. PIPA.org, Program on International Policy Attitudes. Plowshares.org, Plowshares Fund, group providing resources to stop the weapons of war, from nuclear arms to landmines. Plowsharesactions.org. PoliceEstateUSA.com. PoliticalScience.osu.edu. ppu.org.uk, Peace Pledge Union, independent organization, established in 1934, working towards creating a just world free from war. Presidency.ucsb.edu. PressTV.ir. PrisonPlanet.com. ProjectYano.org, ProjectYano.org. Protect. pub50.easyboard.com/Baxies of Justice, Axis of Justice, US Anti-War Opinion Forum. Publicintegrity.org/wow, Windfalls of War. PureEnergySystems.com. QOQAZ.com. RadicalMiddle.com. RadicalRoots.org.uk. RadioFetzer.blogspot.com. RadioIslam.org/thetruth/antiwarsites.htm. rationalrevolution.net. arbotnagar.csm.uc.edu/indiatorism. rcnv.org/rcnv/archives. realities-watch.com/us-intelligence-every-single-terrorist-attack-was-a-false-flag-false-flag-attack. reclaimthebases.org.uk. Reclaim the Bases organizes protests, direct action, and civil disobedience. refugeesinternational.org. Refugees International. reliefweb.int. resistance.org.au. Resistance, Australian anti-war campaign. resistwar.com. responsibilitytoprotect.org. Responsibility to. rethinkafghanistan.com. Rethink Afghanistan, videos, petition, blog, and more. rhythmsofresistance.co.uk. Rhythms of Resistance, activist Samba band involved in anti-war protests. rocklandaction.org. Rockland Coalition for Peace and Justice. ruckus.org. Ruckus Society. safeandsoundschools.org. Anti-war websites 9. sandlini.com. savethecongo.co.uk. scoop.co.nz/mason, scoop, New Zealand-based progressive alternative news site. seedsofpeace.org. senate.gov/foreignsiparai.se/new location, Peace Research Institute. site.gmu.edu/cdebona/grp index. sfcg.org, search for common ground. sinfin.ie, Sinn Féin, the political wing of the Irish Republican Army. site.gmu.edu/cdebona/tpw. smallwarsjournal.com. socialforum.at/sf/demo, Austrian Social Forum, Austrian anti-war websites. sojo.net, Sojourners, Anti-War Christian Ministry. solutions.net/rec-travel/general safety/textstandinter.com/cbs_6/0minutes2.aspwho.ch. World Health Organization Voices for Creative Nonviolence 1249 West Argyll St. spystuff.com/list sites. state.gov/www/global/terrorism. stopclustermunitions.org. stopusa.be, Stop USA, Belgian anti-war website. stopwar.org.uk, Stop the War Coalition, developed following September 11 under 3 slogans: Stop the War, No to a Racist Backlash and Defend Civil Liberties, Stop the War Coalition. stopwojni.w.pl, Stop War Initiative, Polish group opposing war on Iraq and planning protests on the day of any attack. sdratfor.com. struggle.net/anti-war info, Seattle. studentpeaceaction.org, Student Peace Action Network. studentstopwar.org.uk, Students Against the War, first-hand reports from student and school pupil protests and calendar of forthcoming actions. teamingbrain.com. templeofdemocracy.com. terrorism.com. theantimedia.org. theatlantic.com/politics. thedailybeast.com. theguardian.com/antiwar/sub-section/0,12809,884056,00.html, bunch of anti-war links. thehope.org. thelasdbastille.wordpress.com. themob.org/lmca, leave my child alone. thenetng.com. thepeacefulplanet.org. theqfactor.blogspot.com, ThecFactor. thuha.org, World History Association. thewines.org. thirdsidE.org. thirdworldtraveler.com. tompaine.com. tiddleware.com. towerofbabel.com. towerofbabel.com/links/library/antiwar. transparency.org. traprockpeace.org, Trap Rock Peace Center. travel.state.gov. TrudeauCenter.ca, Trudeau Center for Peace and Conflict Studies. TrueMajority.com, TrueMajority.com, grassroots education and advocacy project founded by Ben Cohen, co-founder of Ben & Jerry's. TWF.org. UHC-COLLECTIVE.org.uk, UHC, Anti-War Art Collective. UKWILPF.gn.apc.org, Women's International League for Peace, women campaigning for peace since the early 1900s. UN.org/millennium/forum.hdm, millennium. UN.org. UN.org/English, United Nations. UNAUSA.org, United Nations Association of the USA. UNDP.org, United Nations Development Programme. UNGlobalCompact.org, United Nations Global Compact. UNHCR.ch, High Commissioner for Refugees. UNHCR.ch/refworld/UN/CHR. UNICEF.org, Children's Emergency Fund. UnitedForPeace.org/article.php?ID =2332, United for Peace. UnitedForPeace.org, United for Justice and Peace, national campaign that brings together a broad range of organizations throughout the U.S. to help coordinate protest against war on Iraq. United for Peace and Justice. uoknor.edu/cybermuslim/sci-jihad up4c03.gwdg.de/col/cla, clandestine radio stations.upmc.com/services/poison center/terrorism/pages/default.aspx. UnitedWorldForPeace.blogspot.com. UnMillenniumProject.org, United Nations Millennium Project. uoknor.edu/cybermuslim/sci-jihad. up4c03.gwdg.de/col/cla, clandestine radio stations. ushistory.org. ushistory.org/us/55d.asp, rise and fall of the anti-Vietnam War movement in the U.S. usip.org, Institute of Peace. usis.usmb.se/terror/index. usis.usmb.se/human, human rights. uta.fi/leokset/tapari, Peace Research Institute. uua.org, Unitarian Universalist Association. uuc.org/program/stop/index.html. veteransforcommonsense.org, Veterans for Common Sense, group of war veterans who argue they must play a key role in the public debate over national security issues. veteransforpeace.org, Veterans for Peace, a non-profit organization dedicated to the abolition of war founded by ex-service members in 1985, Veterans for Peace. veteransforpeace.org.uk. veteranstoday.com. vicpeace.org, Victorian Peace Network, Australian-based network of more than 60 organisations opposed to the war on Iraq. 6wook.freeserve.co.uk, Voices in the Wilderness UK, organisation concerned with the humanitarian crises in Iraq, breaks the economic sanctions by hand-delivering medical supplies to children's hospitals. voicenet.com/wizkid/jr. votenoor.org, votenoor.org, a non-political, educational campaign against war and racism and in support of grassroots democracy, including teach-ins, conferences, local and regional events. votetoimpeach.org, Vote to Impeach, site calling for people to vote electronically to impeach George Bush. Anti-war websites 10. vvaf.org/icrs, conflict resolution studies. wagingpeace.org, Waging Peace, website of the Nuclear Age Peace Foundation. wakingplanet.com, Peace and Harmony, and a proposed world flag to symbolize this vision. want.org. wanttoknow.info/w-arissa-racket. war-times.org, War Times. warchild.com, warchild.ca. warchild.org. warconservative.blogspot.com wrisboring.com, wrisracket.org, wrinpoverty.org/html/mainframe.html, war on want, group asking people to sign up to a campaign saying that the only war worth fighting is the war on poverty. warresisters.org, War Resisters League. weboflove.org. weforum.org/en/initiatives/g local governance/index.htm, global governance initiative. weg.gmu.edu/departments/ncpcr, peace and conflict resolution. whitehouse.org. westerndefense.org. whodis.com, Who Dies for Bush Lies, created by the Committee to Unsell the War to put the case against war on Iraq. why-war.com, Why War, group trying to organize, inform, and motivate Americans to question and evaluate the war on terrorism. Wiesenthal.com, Simon Wiesenthal Center Online. wikipedia.org/wiki/commission_on_global_governance, Commission on Global Governance. wilsoncenter.org, Woodrow Wilson International Center. winwithoutwarus.org, Win Without War, a coalition of national organizations advocating alternatives to preemptive war in Iraq. witnessforpeace.org. wmfo.8m.net. wnd.com, World News Daily. wnrf.org/cms/jewish.shtml, Jewish Futures Network. wnypeace.org, Progressive Social Change in Western New York, Buffalo. women-praying-for-peace.org, Women Praying for Peace, a loose organization of women linked by the net, all praying for peace at the same time of day. womenagainstmilitarymadness.org. womenagainstwar.org. womeninblack.net, Women in Black, international peace network that holds silent vigils to protest war and human rights abuses. womeninblack.org.uk, Women in Black UK. women'sinotower.org. workingforchange.com, Working for Change World Dreams Peacebridge.org. worldaffairscouncils.org, World Affairs Councils of America. worldpeacenewsletter.com. worldwidewm.org, Women Against Military Madness. www.report.com. wri-irg.org, War Resisters International, movement set up in 1921 to promote nonviolent action against the causes of war. wsws.org, World Socialist Website, Internet Center of the International Committee of the Fourth International, which opposes war on Iraq and more generally the capitalist market system. Wonderground.com. zenzi.com/users/hubcom/hate. Voices for Creative Nonviolence. 1249 West Argyle St. STE2. Chicago, Illinois 60640. 773-878-3815. vcnv.org. Sudan War Websites. StandNow.org, Students Taking Action Now for Darfur, Activist Coalition. HarvardDivest.com, Harvard Divestment Campaign, includes online petition. Yale.edu/stand, Yale Stand, Students Taking Action Now for Darfur. SaveDarfur.org/divest, divest for Darfur, from the Save Darfur Coalition. SaveDarfur.org, Save Darfur, alliance of more than 100 organizations. miafarrow.org/what_you_kin_do.html, how to help, from human rights advocate Mia Farrow. DarfurIsDying.com, Darfur is Dying, online role-playing video game. DarfurScores.org, Darfur Scorecard, ratings for each member of U.S. Congress. GenocideIntervention.net, Genocide Intervention Network, things you can do now. StopGenocideNow.org, Stop Genocide Now, view video footage from the ground. EnoughProject.org, Enough, the project to end genocide, CTR. 4 AM. Progress. Sudan.net,